do not know if music is on in this thing. I'll probably change that real quick though.
Oh yeah.
Lord knows YouTube's a whiner about that crap.
So you're on broadcast now, right? Okay, yeah, I see. All right, let me just explain to the people what's going on. Using Madden 19, John M and I have done a what's it called? A split off from Sack to the Future, sort of spin-off. That's what I'm looking for. And we've gone back to 1920 rosters. We're just doing the playoffs. So I took the 1920 standings, and I have assigned an actual NFL franchise to represent the 1920 APFA, or All Professional Football, American Professional Football Association franchises. The Dayton Triangles are represented by the Indianapolis Colts because some people believe that the Colts are actually descended from Dayton. I am one of them. The Cleveland Browns are representing the Canton Bulldogs because why not? They're in Ohio, and it was either the Browns or the Bengals, and with the Browns we can do a Blake helmet.
And they are called the Browns now.
Yeah. And the initials are the same. Well, I guess they would be the same as Cincinnati too. But John M is going to be representing the Canton Bulldogs. And what we've done is we each drafted a team. We picked a team once I got the playoff set. John will pick NFC first. I'll pick AFC first. So in this year's 1920 playoffs, I will be the Buffalo All-Americans. He's the Canton Bulldogs. In the NFC, he is the Rock Island Independents, and I, the Decatur Staleys. They will be the Rams and Bears, respectively. Now, players did not wear jersey numbers back then. So you're gonna have to, forgive me if I can't find a player or don't know a player. I'm gonna do the best I can until about 1932 or so. Yes, Frank Bacon. He sizzles at quarterback. Okay. Frank Bacon out of Wabash University, born in 1894. And it goes without excuse me. It goes without saying that none of these players are still alive. Unfortunately. Also, like Sack to the Future, we have to use modern Madden rules, uniforms. This year's version of Madden took away some of our classic uniform stuff, so we're doing the best we can. That was a handoff to Lou Partlow. He is out of no college, none. And players played both ways. So on offense, if he wears 1, he wears 99 on defense. 2, 98, 3, 97, so on and so forth. I just watched an incomplete pass thrown by Partlow. Or Bacon, sorry. Looking at the Colts offensive line, Hobby Kinderdine is the center. He also is the kicker, punter, and a linebacker. Pesky Lentz, one of the halfbacks. Why all the players have footballs in their hands for 2019. This is the first time I paid attention to that.
Yeah, they're all playing all the positions, so it only makes sense, right?
Yep. And I'm watching the game on YouTube while John's playing it, so if John is a little bit ahead of me, but my commentary should match up with the game pretty much. We'll have to play it back and see. Yeah. Pass complete to Norm Sackstadter, and it brings up a 4th down.
It gives it a more realistic, announcing.
Well, there is a TV delay, so Norm Sackstadter went to Christian Brothers in Missouri, as well as Dayton, University of Dayton. Of course, it's pouring right now here in upstate New York, where I am, so I may lose connection altogether. Wow. Joe Guyon, Hall of Famer on the return, and here is the legendary Jim Thorpe.
I don't know if there's anybody alive today that's played football that doesn't know that name.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope they've all heard of him. The Dayton Triangles in 1920. Where are they? They finished 5 wins, 2 losses, 2 ties. And the Canton Bulldogs went 7 wins, 4 losses, 2 ties. But because of the way the modern NFL is set up, Dayton wins the AFC South, and Canton has to travel to Dayton.
Now they try the right side here. And he was able to shed the tackle, but the reserves come in for the stop. Give him 5 on the carry.
There are 2 Hall of Famers on the Canton offense, Jim Thorpe and Joe Guyon.
Hopefully they're ready today. Listen, you gotta feed them first. But if you do, you
and my Canton roster is
dancing with footballs.
Yeah. Cub Buck petting the football at left tackle. Pete Calick, one of the halfbacks, and Benny Corcoran, who just got the last carry. The first down carry, I should say.
Let's see if this doesn't...
Of course, the 1920 game, there is no active footage available, but it was not a passing league. We will probably have more passing than one would expect from 1920. Jim Thorpe is sacked. Loss of 3 yards. Catch who?
There's a little
Dave Reese.
Side color commentary as my girlfriend makes fun of me for playing.
Dave Reese out of the University of... I lost the page.
Oh.
But something is going on my internet right now. University of Denison, wherever that is. Oh, Frank Bacon just popped up out of the pan and caught that interception.
Frank Bacon popped up out of the pan and caught that interception. That's what
Yes.
I had to laugh at that one.
Bacon now goes under center. You are the Joe Buck. Lou Partlow on the run. Picks up 9 yards. Now, the only game I've actually played on Madden 19 as well, John, is the pilot episode to this series where I was the Packers and I got beaten by the Bears. But then again, the Packers didn't actually exist, and their player ratings were really poor. The Bears are much, well, the Decatur Steelers, I should say, are much better. I use a different rating system than used in Sack to the Future. So if the players look, feel different, that's why. Phantom Fighter does an amazing job, but I had to do the ratings for this. 2nd and 2. Partlow parts the defense, fumbles, and it's recovered by number 7, whoever that is. 49ers are leading the Raiders 31-3 in the 3rd.
Back-to-back good plays have them on the move on 1st down.
Now, how I did the numbering system, I just went down the roster. The starters are 1 through 11. Therefore, they're 99 through 89. Anybody after that is just the next player up. Bacon fries a pass out to Hauser. I'm on the Canton roster. That would be Earl Hauser out of Miami of Ohio.
You're going to have to submit this tape to the announcing people for the NFL now. This is some
What's
good
that?
Stuff. See if you can't get yourself a position on like Monday Night Football.
No, I try. Frank Bacon to Dave Reese, and the Canton Bulldog defense holds tight.
The defensive guys don't hold no footballs.
Bulger Lou at the middle line, low at the middle linebacker. Bulger Lou. Jim Thorpe, your strong safety, and Pete Calick, your free safety. I just closed my computer's going real slow, and I think it's because I had the Raider 49er game open. Jim Thorpe out of Carlisle Indian School. Bacon is hit and sacked. He curls up when hit. I didn't catch the name. 92.
I missed his name too.
Yeah, it don't matter. Frank Bacon, born January 11th, 1894.
Real name, Frank Pigseed.
Actually, I'm opening up his page right now. So I can give a little information on him. He was real name Francis William Bacon. He died August 31st, 1977. Past complete to Partlow. He was born in South Bend, Indiana, home of the Fighting Irish, and died in Sandusky, Ohio. He played 47 games in the APFA, started 41 of them. He played for two teams, the Dayton Triangles and the Akron Pros. And the Triangles will go for a field goal. Hobby Kinderdine puts it through. Hobby Kinderdine also out of no college, which is really common back then. There was no player drafted until 36.
Whalen.
Tom Whalen, and his name is spelt wrong. I'll have to fix that. Out of Notre Dame. It's supposed to be E-L-A-N. I misspelled it. I'll fix it for the divisional playoffs if Canton wins.
You're exactly right about that. But your point about how daunting this is well taken, because it all depends on their mindset now.
Pete Calick on the carry.
So that you're not looking at this whole big road.
Another graduate of Carlisle Indian School.
You break it down to this game right now. Win that one.
They got a few. Bertie Gardner,
And that's exactly
Joe
what
Guyon.
Scott told us that. They've been focusing with the players on don't look ahead, but that's hard to
Can't
do.
know where to get their players.
It is hard to do because the ultimate goal is to do what? It's to win a Super Bowl. So you have to look ahead a little bit, but you make sure you focus.
When I hear a noise like that, I know something's coming.
Only a yard on the pickup, so
head
situation on 2nd and 2. It's now 3rd and 1.
Ripped down.
The defensive starters for the Colts. They were terrific in the win over Tennessee.
Dave Reese on the tackle. Look at the Triangle defensive line. Hobby Kinderdine and Larry Dellinger. Doc Davis, Ed Sauer. Harry Cutler, Dave Reese, and Dutch Steele. A lot of nicknames back then. Al Mart, Norb Sackstadter. The corners and that's like that. A lot of nicknames in 1920, I noticed.
He'll drop to throw. And an alley to run.
3rd and 1.
What a move. And they're able to get this one across the 35.
Thorpe
It's a gain of 10, and the Browns are going to get
does what he does
first down.
best. He takes off.
That's something you have to be aware of as a defense and have to find a way to account for. And if you're not going to use this spot,
Picks up the first down.
telling your guys to keep your eyes on
Jim
it,
Thorpe,
because when he
an
breaks out,
Olympian who was stripped of his medals,
all it does is hurt you.
Have to at least be able to contain himself.
accused of playing professional sports, professional baseball.
His throw incomplete.
His Olympic medals were returned to him posthumously.
Who's going to win on first down? The offense or the defense? Let's face it, if you've got the ball, 4 yards or more on first
Oh,
down,
but that pass was almost intercepted.
they tried to throw for it there. Nice effort to knock that one away and bring up second down.
They work again from
It's too bad you can't run like a
2nd and 10.
veer offense or something. Take advantage of the players you have.
Try the ground game here with the running back. And able to get this one all the way up to about the 46-yard line. A nice job to get 8 there after the incompletion. And
Pete
now they're
Calick on the carry.
2 coming up.
And there we saw one of the downsides of blitzing during a run down, because sometimes you get out of your gaps. You don't fit the run quite as
Norb
well.
Sackstadter on the tackle.
Carrier with abandon.
3rd down.
Now, in the real APFA of 1920, there were no playoffs. There was no divisions, no conferences. The 14 teams scheduled their own games against whoever they wanted to play, not necessarily against other APFA members.
That's going to bring us to
And the Akron Pros won the most games, had the best winning percentage, and was ranked at the trophy at the end of the year. Fourth down and 1. Thorpe completes it to number 5. Bob Higgins. Bob, my computer, my laptop is frozen. Bob Higgins out of Penn State.
I thought that was a face mask. I guess not. Yeah, I'm on the shoulder.
That's Al Mart on the tackle. Older brother of Kmart.
Little side note. I'm not a big fan of punting. So you'll see me go for it often if I have.
You kind of fit into the era then.
Yeah.
I think anybody who's watched the Giants or the Oilers and Sack to the Future knows you're not a fan of punting.
No. It could be like 4th and 32, and I'm like, yeah, I can get it.
You are the video gamer of the 4 of us, that's for sure. You play like it's a video game.
Try to keep it somewhat realistic, though.
Yeah. Canton scored 208 points in 1920, giving up 57. Dayton, on the other hand, scored 450 and gave up 54. Not many stats I can give you. There's no official stats kept until 1932, so we'll do the best we can. Pete Calick on the carry. Let's since why did this page disappear again? Let's spotlight Pete Calick if I can. Maybe not. Canton as a team, as well as Dayton, both predate the NFL. And a little meeting at the quarterback there. I gotta close Facebook, I think. That might help speed the laptop up a little.
How old's your laptop?
What's that?
How old is your laptop?
3 years old. But it's an Acer. It's not very powerful. It's just it was meant for just odds and ends things. But with my PC being down until it looks like Monday now, it is getting its work out. Bob Higgins with a juke. Not a lot of speed in this NFL either.
Yeah, that wasn't the first option.
No, it came off of that guy, the deep guy, and came underneath on the drag. Completed
now, unlike Sack to the Future, these games are not going to be a regular basis. Sack to the Future still takes precedence. These games will be about once every 10 days, depending on when I have time to work on the rosters. Alright, Pete Calick, born May 13th, 1893 in Valley Center, California. Wow, he came all the way from California. Graduate of Carlisle Indian School. Also attended West Virginia Wesleyan. Thorpe back to pass. Throws a floater to Joe Guyon, another Hall of Famer. Calick died January 13th, 1968 in Canton, Ohio. He would play in 69 games between the APFA and the NFL. Of course, the NFL officially became the league name in 1922. 3rd and 1. And Bunny Corcoran is slapped down for a loss. And my Canton roster is gone again.
Well, they deemed it 4-down territory, and they got 4 yards to pick up the first.
That caught, yep, first down pass to Green. You can tell by the jersey number 18 that he's not a starter, making use of the bench.
Not much happening there on first down.
Thought there might have been a hole for a split second.
Yeah, but it dried up pretty quickly, didn't it? Closed.
Calick picks up about 3 yards.
You can definitely tell that the way these teams are set up, they're more geared towards running than they are passing.
Well, that goes along with the ratings. I tried to make it as Yeah.
I mean, I can still pass well enough with him.
Yeah.
You're not really getting too much separation on the receivers and stuff.
I will say this about Madden 19: it does make it easier to rate the team player because you get to see their overall as you're doing the rating. Like they did a little video about it.
Yeah, they broke it down differently this year, didn't they?
Yeah. But I'm really disappointed in the loss of the Riddell and Scott
Shut helmets.
the standard Riddell standard and Scott standard. The 1980s and 90s helmet, basically. It's gone this year, and I'm really disappointed in EA for that. Bunny Corcoran hops his way down the field. That was bad. Out of Georgetown and Fordham. Everybody's a rookie this year too, by the way. Officially, even though a lot of them have been playing pro. For years, they're all rookies in the eyes of the NFL historians. I guess it's a good thing they didn't keep stats for the first 12 years, because then nobody can argue that why weren't my stats from the 19 teams included. Of course, they're all dead, so nobody can be arguing anyway. But. Third and goal, back to pass. Low, Bulger Low. The right end, defensive right end out of Lafayette. It's amazing. A lot of these guys went to multiple colleges. I don't know if it was the transfer system was easier back then. I mean, I don't think there was no NCAA itself until the 1930s, so I don't know as much about college football at the time as I do the origins of the NFL. And you definitely got to be a diehard to be watching these early seasons. It's a fake, as Feeney throws it in the end zone, touchdown to Green, Larry Green out of Georgetown, the 25-year-old, on the reception from Al Feeney, the Notre Damer, the 29-year-old Al Feeney.
I gotta give him credit. Most of the time, they don't throw it very well.
Well, actually, too, on the Lou Partlow was on the coverage. He's the starting free safety. He was right there.
Yeah.
Now the extra point.
I want to come in and block this.
Extra point splits the uprights.
It is now 6-3, Canton.
So that about as lengthy a drive as you're ever going to see.
And the extra point by, once again, Al Feeney. Doing everything. That's what Notre Damers do. They do everything.
That'll be taken in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. And now Indianapolis
Touchback to Dayton.
And they had 3 points last time, but they didn't want 3 points because they were well within range of scoring a touchdown. We'll see if they can do better now.
I'm with you on that one. Let's just go ahead and be frank about the whole thing. The only one happy about the 3-point kicker. Exactly.
I don't know if you what you just saw while you're picking your play, but they showed an image of Norb Sackstadter walking up the field, and the Colt on the back of his helmet was ripped.
That's kind of cool.
Bacon throws an incomplete pass as he's a bit short on the throw.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised my defender didn't try to catch that.
I think the converse has been true in this game.
I think you're right.
Page unresponsive. Oh, wait.
And this time he's got the hook up. It's complete. And he's brought down after a very nice
All the teams, too, are in the Midwest, so it's really hard to pick, well, who should represent what team. Like, for instance, John's going to be running the Rock Island Independence. And I'd already used all the Midwestern teams on the signing, so he's got the Los Angeles Rams. Why? It's just because. That's why I missed the days when Madden would let us improvise. Thiel, I don't know anything about him because I have completely lost the Dayton roster page and have to start from scratch.
I missed to create a team.
Yeah.
what they used to have. Even with the crappy logos.
Yeah, which we wouldn't need logos. It'd be all right for us. We only have about, with the exception of the Brooklyn Dodgers, who were around into the 40s, we only have about 12, 15 years of defunct teams. But okay.
And he'll take it up past the 26-yard line. And now Cleveland geared up to take the field. And they're hoping to
10-7 Dayton. Now, I mentioned earlier that some people believe that the Dayton Triangles are the ancestors to the Indianapolis Colts. In 1929, I believe, Dayton was a financial mess, and the ownership left the league. The way the NFL ran things then is they had franchise, like slots. They had so many slots open, and when one team left, they would sell that slot and those players to the new owner. So a team from Boston came in, bought the slot, and took all the players from the Triangles to Boston, where they would stay. Can you hear me? Because now it's saying it cannot operate my PS4 voice.
No, I can hear you just fine.
Well, hopefully they can still hear me. That I don't know. Maybe it's the voice command on the remote. Took all the players to Boston. Actually, instead of trying to do this from memory, let me load up the Wikipedia page. I want to give the accurate history, because we'll probably be seeing them quite a bit.
Nice completion there. Keeps the sticks moving.
Okay. Dayton Triangles. There's another franchise that this counts for too. The Frankfurt Yellow Jackets. Many believe are the ancestors of the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles even wore throwbacks to them in 2008. Okay. Dayton Triangle started operating in 1913. Joining the league in 1920, obviously. Alright. Due to numerous transactions, this I'm reading directly from the Wikipedia page. So, thanks to whoever wrote that up. Touchdown pass to number 24. Martin? Was that Martin? Ike Martin. Ike Martin out of William Jewell University. Okay. So, due to numerous franchises over the years, or transactions over the years, the Triangles have a tenuous connection to the current NFL. Dayton was sold to Boston. This gets a little confusing once I back up a little bit.
We are at the halftime break.
Okay, Brandon, thanks very much.
Okay.
Welcome in, everyone, to our EA Sports halftime report.
Dayton was one of the league's doormats, winning just 5 of the last 51 contests between 1923 and 29. Only the revenues from playing on the road kept them afloat. Also around this time, the NFL began shaking off its roots in mid-sized Midwestern cities. Although the Triangles are one of only 3 original NFL teams, along with the Bears and Cardinals, to survive the 20s, and the only team from the Ohio League to survive past 1926. The Ohio League is actually what the NFL descended from. It soon became apparent that Dayton was not big enough to support a team in the burgeoning league. Finally, on July 12, 1938, Brooklyn, see I kept saying Boston, a Brooklyn-based syndicate headed by Bill Dwyer, bought the Triangles franchise and moved to Brooklyn, and was renamed the Brooklyn Dodgers. Jack Depler, who was a co-owner and new coach of the Dodgers, who had been coach player of the NFL's Orange Tornadoes, he took most of the members of the 1929 Tornadoes with him to the new Dodgers team. So some could argue that the Orange Tornadoes are also a part of this lineage. However, the owner itself bought the Dayton team. Due to numerous transactions over the years, the Triangles have a tenuous connection to the current NFL. The Dodgers would merge with the Boston Yanks, making it ironic that the Colts were once in Boston. for the 1945 season due to player shortages. In 1946, Brooklyn's owner jumped to the AAFC, which is ironically where the Cleveland Browns come from, and played as the New York Yankees. The Boston Yanks, however, remained in the NFL, keeping several players, and in 1949 moved to New York to become the New York Bulldogs. Also in 1949, the AAFC Yankees merged with the Brooklyn Dodgers from the AAFC and played as the Brooklyn New York Yankees. This was a different Brooklyn Dodgers franchise, by the way, because the Yankees were then the Dodgers had become the Yankees. When the AAFC merged in the NFL, the Yankees players were divided between the New York Bulldogs, the Bulldogs being the same team that can count their lineage to the Colts. A failure at the box office, the Bulldogs were sold back to the NFL in 1952 and awarded to a group from Texas who moved it to Dallas for the 1952 season, the Dallas Texans, not to be confused with the Dallas Texans from the 60s. The Texans failed after 1 year and were once again sold back to the NFL, who folded the Texans franchise. Its remains were awarded to an ownership group in Baltimore, and we have an interception by Thiel, or fumble recovery. Ownership group in Baltimore to form the Baltimore Colts. The Colts then moved to Indianapolis in 1984, and where they still exist today. The NFL, however, does not consider the Colts and Triangles to be linked, as they also do not consider the Yellow Jackets to be the Eagles. I do, but that's just me. You make your own decision.
Oh, they're all connected somehow, otherwise they wouldn't be there in the first place.
Well, I mean, the best argument for that is the fact that the NFL allowed the Eagles to wear Frankfurt Yellow Jackets throwbacks. They're god-awful blue and yellow uniforms. But with the new uniform rules and stuff and worries over concussions, that kind of thing won't happen anymore. Alright, so let me catch up to where we are. It's 14-10 Bulldogs, sorry. Lou Partlow slammed to the turf. There's a look at head coach Jim Thorpe. And over there, head coach Frank, no, who's the Triangles coach? Nelson Talbot.
And some good tackling there as he stopped up at about the 41. 1 yard, the official pickup there, so it's going to set up 3rd and 9.
And do not, Nelson Talbot was not a player, so that's a rare instance where the player was not the coach.
Back to throw here. He's going to float this one deep right side.
Oh, he got flags there.
Touchdown, Indianapolis.
He got ahead of him.
Bacon fries his way to the outside. Throws, it's caught by number 5. And still don't have a roster. Thiel. It's still loading. Dutch Thiel out of University of Denison.
Extra point forthcoming. Extra point splits.
So the Triangles retake the lead.
19-14. So that drive, 4 plays, and it culminates in an Indianapolis touchdown.
Tell you what, they definitely ain't laying down.
Off it goes. This fielded at the 2. Solid return, pretty good field position. They'll start at the 32.
And here comes Whalen on the return.
And now Cleveland geared up to take the field.
Billy Whalen and the boys.
Turnover on the fumble, and they were in enemy territory.
Tom Whalen out of Notre Dame, Dartmouth, and Georgetown. He was a smart one. I'm not sure which one they graduated from. I think it's the first one listed, to be honest with you. I don't either. I guess I'll have to look into that a little better.
Now can they get that bad taste out of their mouth here? Here we go! Out of the gun, they'll look to throw. Escaping the pressure right. And he's got room. And he slips up past the
Thorpe.
45 before being tackled. A good play there as the Browns strike for 16.
Going to take off running.
Partner as a quarterback,
Nice run by
you
Jim
just gotta
Thorpe.
know when the clock has gone off in your head, it's time to go.
He was on that Olympic
All you
speed.
can.
Actually, I think he was a shot putter or something.
That's legit, but I believe you're right.
Well, I'll look it up.
He wasn't very big if I remember right, too.
You know what really fires up offensive linemen? When the guy that is carrying the ball behind them.
He wasn't actually a quarterback either. But,
5'5" or something.
I'm looking up right now. He wasn't actually a quarterback either, but there were no technical quarterbacks in 1920, so I used the first person listed. James Francis Thorpe, or Wathohuck, which translates to Bright Path, born sometime between May 22nd and 28th in 1887. Gold medalist. He was 6 foot 1 inches tall, 202 pounds.
I guess I was wrong there.
He played for the Canton Bulldogs from 1915 to 1917. 1919 to 1920. There's nothing. In 1918, he maybe went to World War I. I don't know. The Cleveland Indians in 1921. So this could be his last game as a Bulldog, depending on how well you do. The Oorang Indians from 1922 to 23. The Rock Island Independents in 24. The New York Giants in 1925. Back to the Rock Island Independents in 1925. The Tampa Cardinals, that's a non-NFL team, in 26. Back to the Canton Bulldogs in 26, so my mistake, he'll be back. Nobody in 27, and the Chicago Cardinals in 1928. True era of free agency. Lou Partlow with the interception over the Hall of Famer Joe Guyon. Okay. He also was an assistant head coach at Indiana in 1915 and coached the Canton Bulldogs, Cleveland Indians, and Oorang Indians in the NFL. Alright, let's see. Olympic career. The 1912 Olympics in Stockholm, Sweden. He was a 2 new multi-event disciplines were included. He competed in the pentathlon and the decathlon. So he was a decathlete and a pentathlete, whatever those are. So track and field, basically. (1912) had strict rules about amateurism. In late January of 1913, the Worcester Telegram published a story announcing that Thorpe had played professional baseball. Other U.S. newspapers followed up on the story, kind of like today's modern newspapers. They print a story without checking it. Thorpe had indeed played professional baseball in Eastern Carolina for Rocky Mount, North Carolina in 1909 and 1910, receiving meager pay. However, that would disqualify him from competing in the Olympics. The AAU took the case very seriously and stripped him of his medals.
He was trying to force it in there on third down.
But if there's a time to force it, he felt like he needed to make a play, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Third down, you got to try.
So he officially would be declared a professional at that point and start playing baseball. For the New York Giants, the Cincinnati Reds, the New York Giants, and the Boston Braves. And then also football. He was a 2-sport athlete from 1915 to 1919. He was Bo Jackson.
Trying to shake off the interception from the last drive. He'll look to throw.
His Olympic medals were reinstated in 1982, 29 years after his death.
And that's another nice job there to force an incompletion. They've been very cohesive, knowing each other's moves all game long.
So there you go, a little history lesson for Jim Thorpe. And while I was away talking, Bulldogs got the ball back.
Coming up after this game will be the Week 6 game between the Titans, the Oilers, and the Browns. But Ryan is still waking up to play.
For a lot of guys playing this game, there's no
We call it the battle of the undefeateds because both teams have not lost yet.
And turn his legs for a really
Yes, and also in the Sack of the Future, it looks like the Bears and Packers will be on tonight as well. In fact, it should be simultaneously. You'll get to make your choice or watch multiple screens. And if you're watching this on replay, make sure you go to the Sack of the Future page, Sack of the Future playlist on the Viniax Wolf channel to check out all the games from 1961.
They're bringing the heat.
Welcome, Brian. Are you following along on YouTube, or are you just joining the party? This is 1920 Blast from the past. As we're only doing playoffs, and it's the Canton Bulldogs and the Dayton Triangles. Can't you tell by the uniforms? Yeah. Well, Jim Thorpe is running around. That was a bullet pass. Yeah.
Looked like the defense put pretty good pressure on him, but he's able to flush out to his right to try and evade people.
Actually, I was going to say John's settings should be set.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know because I got the video muted, so I don't hear. This needs to go into blast. Where is that? Okay. The Bears-Packers game has started in Sack of the Future as well.
It's been a very hotly contested game to this point. Just a field goal separating these two teams as we get set for the.
You know what? There is a delay too, so if you mute your game, that will eliminate that.
Step on that last play because the drive has been strong, but now it's 2nd and 12.
Oh gosh.
All right, fourth quarter action.
Oh god, dang.
Something must be coming. Intercepted by
On the screen pass.
Reese. Dave Reese. Legendary in his own mind. His family's mind probably too.
Not to be confused with Kyle Reese, a Terminator fan.
Huh.
So who's Canton and who's
the Browns are Canton, and that's who John's controlling. And the Dayton Triangles are their descendants, the Indianapolis Colts. I gave a whole history lesson on how the Triangles became the Colts. So if you get to watch the game back, and if you want to know that, I went through it. Now I believe they are descended from the Triangles.
Okay.
The NFL doesn't. But
I tested and I can hear myself.
So, what John and I are doing, this is a spin-off of the wildly successful Sack to the Future. Critically acclaimed Sack to the Future. It's so huge it deserved a Madden 19 spin-off. And we're just doing the playoffs. I have picked the team, an NFL team to represent the 1920 teams, and I set the playoffs up based on the actual standings. So like the Akron Pros will be the best team. They'll be the #1 seed, and so on and so forth. The Bears and Packers have kicked off over on the Sack of the Future on the Phantom Fighter channel. Oh, wide open is Norb Sackstadter.
They're definitely putting up a fight.
Norb Sackstadter out of the University of Dayton, a homeboy.
I can do it, so it's not that big of a deal to me, and I'm going to keep firing.
One thing I notice is the snap count for the computer is more realistic. There's not so much of a delay to where you can really wait and time it out.
Right.
Same for like the extra points and stuff. Usually you're sitting there waiting for a minute and you get a good chance at timing your block.
Look at this. They get the turnover.
Oh.
It's intercepted. Picked off off inside the 5.
Interception. Diving interception by Jim Thorpe.
Watch
The
this
star of the
on
show. Jim, he kind of just stands there palming the ball too, like, yeah, I'm Jim Thorpe. Who are you?
He just dives like Superman. Like, oh, I'm gonna take that.
Superman, dude. He friggin' leapt in the air like he was Superman. He's thrown 3 interceptions so far today, though. I don't blame Jim Thorpe for that. I gotta blame John M for that.
That's not unusual. I throw a lot of those.
Trying to shake off the interception, he'll look to throw. And he couldn't hang on. Would have been their 4th pick of the game. Instead, 2nd down. They have not gotten him going at all.
Oh, incomplete. Looking for Joe Guyon. Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer.
And not much there as he gets it up to about the 5-yard line. Just a couple on the pickup there, and now it's 3rd down. Well, that's a good start to this drive on the defensive side of the ball. Forcing completion on 1st down, then you're able to shut down the running play on 2nd.
3rd down and 8. Big play.
A little bit of pressure going at the quarterback in the expected passing situation. Well, deep in their own territory, they looked to throw, and he couldn't hold
drop that. We've done one a few times and we'll actually have to punt.
Yeah, threw underneath. Bob Higgins. Well, that guy's got a glove. I missed that somehow. I don't think players wore gloves. If they did, they were probably like sheepskin or something, or wolfskin. Wool.
Returnable here from the 38. A good return there of 17 yards. And the Colts are set up well as they take over 1st and 10 on the short side of the field. And the Colts getting ready to go. And the interception
Now, 4:42 to go, and Dayton's got the ball.
I just have to think the last thing he said as they went back out there was, don't do
I have to believe they're passing.
Well, I would be running the clock out myself, but they are in shotgun. Bacon in the shotgun.
Taken down. Back right around the 48-yard line.
I know there'll be a little bit of criticism there because they went
Bacon
right back
sizzling in the pan, and he's
getting
fried.
sacked. That's often a play that you make. You feel like you've got momentum on your side.
Unfortunately, the O-line failed to hold up.
John Kellison, 34-year-old out of West Virginia Wesleyan.
And he'll get across midfield down to the 48-yard line. Give him 3 yards on the run. Now they'll need to drop something good here on 3rd and 13. All right, that's a decent game there, but
Of course, in an ironic twist of fate, in your next game, you will be playing against the Browns and Mr. Brian Phelps.
Holy cow. Not him again. He's just getting distance on that guy.
Oh, man. Dutch steal. That pass was thrown to the Netherlands, and Dutch was there to catch it.
Most of the time when we talk about someone putting a team on their back, I think we're talking about a guy who runs the football. In this case, it's a guy out wide catching it, and he's done exactly
I'm worried about playing this game today. I played against one real team.
Three touchdown catches. He's been the headliner. This is taken at the 3.
Oddly enough, I don't hear Phantom Fighter on his broadcast. He's not speaking.
And down at the 28-yard line. And now the Browns coming out on the field. And on the last go around, they really
I gotta compose some drives here.
deep inside their own territory.
Well, you got your 3 timeouts.
The field position battle is a general rule. What they're looking for now is a little more consistency. Move the ball at least a few times on offense. Get a couple of 1st downs. And hopefully flip the field. Yeah, just something to build off of. That's what they're looking for here.
16 yards right off the bat and a 1st down.
I'm not sure what exactly is going on.
Aha. I can hear him through here.
No, I got it. Yep.
The amount of sacks that they've absorbed in this game is absolutely extraordinary. Let's just face it. this offensive line,
Of course, it takes a while when you text to the live chat to, before he hears it. So I tried to answer him, but he can't. There he goes.
Alright, well. So that was a very interesting half of the first quarter. Absolutely nothing said.
Boulder low on the reception. I'm going to turn him down a little so that it's not interfering with this broadcast. But I can still hear him. So we got the Cowboys in Sack to the Future week. What are we in, week 6? Yeah, week 6. We still got the Cowboys and Redskins.
I was thinking about doing that tonight too.
Bears and Packers are currently playing. Broncos and Cardinals. The bonus game of the Lions and
Eagles.
Lions and Eagles. Yep. And of course the main event, the Browns and Oilers. Jim Brown versus Billy Cannon.
I may not be able to pull this one out. It's the second interception.
Wow, that was a one-handed interception.
Yeah, it was.
Dave Reese. Dave Reese, the star of the Dayton Triangles. And of course, as anybody would do in 1920, he gets up and celebrates.
Wow. Just open up the motor for him.
Part low. Run through the high part of the defense.
We'll come back and see this one out after this.
I'm like in a time warp here. I've got 2 games on my in front of me. One's from 1920, the next from 1961.
Hey, it works for me.
1920.
Dr. Who to show up.
Great Scott.
Oh, that's Doc Brown.
No, yeah, Dr. Who's. I don't know much about Dr. Who. I'm sorry.
He's the one with the Sonic studio.
The telephone booth.
Stuff. Yes.
No, the only Who I know about is Cindy Lou Who and The Grinch Stole Christmas.
On the give, this is their fullback. Not much room here as he only gets it to about the 30. And now with 1:52 to go, we get another pause in the action. A timeout here defensively.
I heard that through the screen before I heard it on my screen. So it's weird. If that was Brian, when you're on the blast from the past game, you're delayed. When you're on the Sack the Future game, you're ahead. It's weird. Maybe I'm not live. No, I'm live. I don't know. It's just weird how technology works. Maybe it's because you're closer to him than you are us. I mean, as close as you can be to Wisconsin compared to New York, but
Well, now that I'm in Texas, I'm not close to it.
I know I think you're still closer to Wisconsin than New York. So remember, we're upstate New York. We're so far north Toronto, south of us.
Oh yeah. Ooh, wow.
Thorpe. He's got a lot of time. Unloads into double coverage. Oh! Joe Guyon. He's not been playing like a Hall of Famer, that's for sure. Which he is, or will be. That pesky Wentz, and that was his name, Pesky. Pesky Wentz out there in coverage. Ooh, Ray Nitschke just...
The Packers. The computer-run Packers suck. They are hard.
Oh my god! And when we watched that, the one time they were in the bonus game, they were just destroyed the 49ers.
Thanks to a computer glitch, I had 2 shots to beat him, and I didn't beat him on.
Yeah, true.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through the rest of this broadcast with my laptop. I just gotta notice that the battery was low and my plug-in's way in the other room. Oh, another interception. This time, Lou Partlow.
That should end the comeback drive.
I hate to say it, John, but I believe now. As far as ratings go, Dayton had to have the higher seed. They are the
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They finished. Although Canton won more games than Dayton, Dayton had a higher winning percentage. And winning percentage is what determined the standings in 1920.
And now Indianapolis set to take the field. Getting down to the end here, they have a two-score
He jumps up high. This Dayton team has got some ups. Dutch Steele coming on the field. Frank Bacon. Gonna slice his way into the divisional round. I gotta come up with some more bacon puns before that game. I'm gonna go ahead and close down the 1920 stuff.
Let's see if the AI finally does take in
a loss of a yard there to start out. That leads to a 2nd and 11. And they'll go ground game here with a tailback. And nothing doing.
When this blast from the past game ends, I'm gonna leave the party because I'm gonna go in the other room and watch the game on my laptop with a plug-in. You guys go ahead and stay in the party, and good luck to both of you. Cool. Hope for a good game.
I got
honestly.
Bop out of the party and switch over to the other profile.
Oh, that's right. So, you were invited on that profile too. So if Brian stays in the party, it should be fine. Both profiles were invited.
Right.
If not, just start a new party. Just do an after-hours party. So the Dayton Triangles advance. They move on in the playoffs. The legendary Canton Bulldogs will lose Jim Thorpe in 1921.
15 points in the second quarter and 14 total.
Yep. That's weird. Where the other 1 point come from?
The extra point was after the clock struck 0 for the half.
Yeah, it's another glitch by EA Sports.
Probably it's a halftime point.
Yep. So the next blast from the past game will be an NFC divisional. Actually, if you will keep your broadcast on for a second, and we can take a look at it. Let's see who it is.
I'll finish this game and go take a look at the schedule.
Canton has better teams later in the decade. They'll be back. They win three titles in a row, in fact. 2 in Canton, 1 in Cleveland.
That's great.
Jim Thorpe, the head coach. But he leaves the Bulldogs after this, so.
Schedule. So yeah, we've got the Rams and the Panthers, which is I forget who won.
No, next one is the Lions and Eagles, which I believe is the Akron Pros as the Eagles and the Detroit Heralds as Detroit. That will be a computer versus computer game. I have nothing done on either roster, so it'll be about 10 days. Because I don't have time with the way life is. So, John, you got a bit of a hiatus. You were the last game on that schedule there.
Okay.
So, stay tuned for further blast from the past action.